Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin. I'm your host Mike, and joining me today we have Finlay. And as always, if you are a regular listener, thank you so much for joining us again. If you're brand new, hope you enjoy it and you will come back again for another one and become a regular listener. We love hearing from everyone. Join the conversation, give us the likes, thumbs up on YouTube, all those other things that really do help the podcast grow and get it into more eyes of Sutton United fans. And thanks to everyone who already engages. I really do appreciate it, every single one of them. Finlay, well, I'm not going to say late substitution because it was it was about 24 hours ago, but I caught up with you after the match yesterday, and unfortunately you couldn't run away quick enough, and I was got to sign up and say, yes, you'll come on. How are you? How have you been?
I'm very good, Mike, and the inner commentator self came out of me. I got a statistic. First time I've been on since Telford, so delighted to be back and very happy when you asked me. And I will say I did my best to try and get Paul, the photographer, to come on, and even Ryan as well, but they both politely declined. So apologies. I did try my best though, Mike.
Yeah. Well, at least they were polite to you.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not often so polite to me when I've asked in the past. But family show and all that. Right. Lots of club news. There's various players coming in and different loans going out. But the main topic, I think, is the transfer of JT. I said to you just before we started, I've known him since he was a little boy, but then I clarified and said since he was a younger boy, because I don't think he's ever been little. But it's a bit weird because I did get a selfie with him yesterday because he was at the game. But what are your thoughts on the transfer and the timing of it and all the rest of it?
Well, firstly, a big congratulations to him. It's a big move going back to the Football League. The deluded self came out of me yesterday because I saw him and I thought, oh, he's changed his mind. Brilliant, fantastic. But no, it's a big credit to the academy. I will never forget his goal he got against Gateshead this season. No idea where that burst of energy came from in the 92nd, 93rd minute. And I'm sure a moment he won't forget being that close to the fans. But full credit to the academy. If I was a footballer, I would want to play in that Sutton academy. The staff there, from the kit man of Dylan, the goalkeeper, Coach Clive, Glenn and Jimmy, they've done such a fantastic job, and they've made it such a comfortable environment. And it's like in school. If you get on well with the teachers and you have friends, you're going to learn and you're going to get good grades. And it's the same in football. If you're around good players and good coaches, you're going to feel comfortable enough to play. So full credit to the academy. And as much as I would have loved him to sign a contract that meant he was here till he retired, it would be the wrong thing to do. He needs to go and get to that next level. Absolutely. And having a look at Stevenage, they're actually only a point off the playoffs in League One. So potentially he could be a championship player next season. But all the best. I know he was moving up there today, so I hope the move went well, Jack. And thank you very much for everything. You won't be forgotten, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's just a lot to take in. He's been with us. I think he's the last of our players who've ever played in the Football League to now leave us. So we haven't got any players who played in the Football League before. I'm 90% sure Junior didn't come on, but it's a good move for him. I was a bit sharp online the other day with someone when I said we didn't get an offer that matched our valuations last year, but I believe that we didn't get an offer in the last summer. And as you said, he was out of contract, and we run the risk then of tribunal. And the ones that I've known at Tribunal, we've got stitched up so many times. So it's like let's not do the Tribunal. We're going to get a good fee, and more importantly, I think it's the sell-ons. Obviously, we don't know any of the details, but I would imagine there's going to be some good bonuses. But yeah, a good club for him to go to. They've been in and around that top 6, 7 the whole season.
You've done that joke again.
That's
6
Oh
joke.
no, I didn't mean to do that one. Oh no, that was a bad one. That was awful. But yeah, I've so when we're in the Football League, I follow one of these Stevenage fans who came on the show. He's very enthusiastic, Matt Farley, and he's obviously over the moon. But I keep seeing his messages about how well they're doing. So as you say, he could easily find himself going up another level next year. Chris said that he knows the staff at Stevenage and they're going to really look after him. And he said they're actually superb with centre backs. So that's probably got an awful lot to do with the decision. And Chris, again, in his interview and in the hospitality before the game, he gave great credit to the academy, as you've just done as well. But he also gave credit to Steve Morrison, for putting him in the side, putting his faith in him on a team that was struggling and facing relegation, going, okay, we'll put this youngster into the side. And he said that's really difficult for people to do. But he was there yesterday. We all had quite a bit of fun asking him, you're in the right place if you've forgotten where you're going. Someone did want to quote the classic Only Fools and Horses of "You don't live here no more," Rodney. But they decided not to. He even stayed afterwards for the supporters event in the bar, chatted to a lot of people, and I got a selfie, and it's great. You can literally see him bending almost in half to fit into the selfie with me.
And he did also do an interview after the game, which I know hasn't quite gone out yet, but it was a really nice interview that he did.
Excellent.
And I think it's just also such a great motivator to the rest of the academy that if you do work hard, you are going to get the chances. You've got to be patient. And with the Surrey Senior Cup coming up, I'd expect a few, especially with Neil saying, sorry, I'm going to plagiarise what Neil said. It's such a conveyor belt of talent, because it really is. And I know someone that I'm lucky enough to work with the academy. I can assure you it won't be the last academy player that gets promoted.
But it's also, as you alluded to earlier, the fact that it's a good advert to say, right, you can move on. The thing about Sutton United over the years, we've never really stood in a player's way. If they want to move on, we've always helped them do that. Sometimes to our detriment, and we do need to be a bit smarter about it to say, actually, okay, you can move on, but we need something in place to make sure we're getting some benefit out of this down the line. But it is a great advert to say, look, come to Sutton, join Sutton. You can always move on. And one of the signings that we've made, Jermaine Francis, it sounds like that's exactly what the plan is there. Come here, shine, move on. You get your form, you'll get your chance, shine. And even he said in his interview, there's some things he wants to learn and make his game better. And he's been told we will be able to do that. He's playing with his back to goal and stuff like that. But it does sound like he's coming with an eye to use this as a stepping stone, which is fair enough.
And it's a good sign. If you, like you said, Mike, if you see Sutton as a club that you can go and grow, then it's going to attract loads of players, which in the short term is great for us.
Absolutely. But on to yesterday. Ahead of the game, there was a lot of confidence. We've done well last few games, and we're at home again. And Brackley, not great form. We aren't either, or we weren't either. But what was your expectations going into the game, and did the lineup throw any curveballs for you? Was there anyone you were surprised to see or not see?
Well, going into the game, as you kind of alluded to, Mike, we're in good form. First win of 2026 away at Tamworth. Radari getting his first for the club, a clean sheet, adding on to the draw with Forest Green Rovers, which a team that could be in the Football League next season. We put up a really good fight. So going into the game, especially, I'm just looking at some of my commentary notes. Brackley have only got a 0.9 expected goal rate. So from that perspective, you kind of thought with the amount of goals that Sutton are capable of scoring, I thought it might be a bit of a mismatch, but God, was I wrong. In terms of the lineup, 3 changes. In terms of the back line, I was pleased to see Will Tizard come back in. Nadesan in for Njuku, I was pleased with. I think I said to you after the game, Mike, it's extremely strange to see 3 fit strikers that Chris can choose from. And then obviously the big one, Jermaine Francis coming in for Jaden Harris. I expected him to more than Donkor to start, as Donkor only trained on Friday. So it was good to see Francis come in. The one player I was surprised to see out, and I know it was all over the forum, was Eze. Not really sure if that was due to an injury. I didn't hear anything. So it was an odd one, I think, because he was a player that could have made a difference yesterday. But even just looking at the bench of Sutton, Radari and Juku, Bell, Harris, it seems like a nice full bench. A couple of games ago, it was if the starting 11 doesn't do the business, we're in trouble. But at least we had the option. So yeah, going into the game was positive and yeah, a good lineup overall.
Obviously, I've not heard anything about Eze either, but the fact is, as Chris has said in his pre-match, I think it was, we're now in a position where a player you might expect to start might not even make the squad.
Yeah.
Because we're getting there with the blocks that he wants. And I mean, he did make me laugh where he was saying that, when I first came in, I thought there was way too many players, and then we had this horrible injury list, and we seemed like we only had 5 players all of a sudden. He's getting to kind of where he wants this solid group, and each place being fought for without a loss in or perceived loss in performance. So yeah, there will be times where there'll be players not even making the squad that everyone will be scratching their heads, going, "What the hell is he doing?"
And I guess that's a good thing in a way, because it can improve training sessions. If you're fighting for your place, no one's place is cemented. So I guess that can create quite a good environment.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I remember Morrow saying, a lot of credit for this, was you're not paid to play football, you're paid to train. Playing the match is like a bonus at the end of the week. So it's like you're paid to train, you put it in at training, and then you'll get a chance. But we got started, got out of the blocks quite quickly. A bit of an interesting one, because by his own admission, Jermaine messed up, but then recovered quite well, I believe, for Nada's goal. What did you see as and first of all the assist by Jermaine and Nada's scoring a goal first in a long time? It's good to see him back out there as well.
Yeah, the first since Morecambe in November, Mike. Really pleased for Nadesan. It was a really lovely move. I actually watched the game back this morning, even though it was quite painful. I've never thought. I remember Neil always said he watched the game back, and it's a really good idea, because even though you're on commentary, it's actually crazy how much I missed, which you can look at that in 2 ways. In terms of the goal, starting with Junior, he did really well to win the ball back from Pendleton, as Brackley did have quite a dangerous break on. And then from there, Simper, a lovely ball into Kai. I will say the only criticism for Nadesan, that cross from Kai was so good. I actually thought if Nadesan took an extra few yards, he could have actually got on the end of that cross first time, but he got there in the end. Francis, the pliability he had on the floor to be able to flick it round, and then Nadesan, well, probably one of the easiest finishes of his career. But really good to see him back on the score sheet, because I'm sure we'll talk about him more. It seemed he had a point to prove. In the first 2 minutes, he made a couple of fouls, a couple of shoulder barges, almost trying to show his intent that he was up for the game. So yeah, really pleased for him, and potentially this could be a turning point for Nadesan, maybe for the second half of the season.
Yeah, well, I sponsored him, and I did kind of say that he needs 30 goals to pay it back. So he's only got a few more to go for me.
25.
Yeah, but I said I was this close to tweeting, and I just thought, do you know what? That might not be taken the right way. It was such a good assist from Jermaine that even Nadas couldn't miss. And I was like, no, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Maybe good.
That's a confident. That's when a player's on full confidence. You can do that. You can take them down a little bit, but not that. But yeah, it was fantastic and honestly great to see. I didn't know this until Chris had mentioned it a few weeks ago, that Simper, for example, doesn't score or assist if Nadas isn't on the pitch. And it was like, that can't be right. And then the guys in the back office, they checked it and they were like, yeah, it's right. If not assist, sorry, if Nadas isn't on the pitch. And so he's drawing players. So he's not getting the rub of the green, but he's still drawing players out and stuff. So he's a big player for us.
And that's good for Nadesan then, because the message for Chris is start him every week. So
yeah, exactly.
He's going to get some appearance bonuses and everything. So great for Nadesan.
And watching the game back, it is really good to do, especially when you know the result, because there are so many things that you watch like that because I don't want to see this. But then when you watch it back, you're like, you know what the result is, so you don't really care. Then you can notice a lot more. You don't have that emotions.
The DAZN subscription's finally coming in handy. It's worth the money now just for that.
So, defending the lead, 11 minutes. I mean, it's difficult. There's obviously some criticism about the way we play, which we're actually going to talk about a bit later with the playing out from the back. But how were you feeling at that time? I mean, it did seem as though they had a few test runs, a few rehearsals.
Yeah, definitely
ahead of it. But how were you feeling at that point of they've actually scored now?
It hurt. I think because we'd had, and I'm sure we'll go into this in more detail, there were warning signs that us playing out from the back wasn't working. I mean, the first 2 minutes, Jake Taylor giving a corner away, which they actually scored from, but fortunately it was disallowed. And Brackley, they smelled blood. They deserved their goal. And I really liked what Chris said in the post-match interview, because as much as everybody will look at it as it's Sims that's given the ball away, the movement from the players around him, in my opinion, wasn't good enough. Because when watching it back, I've seen Tizard pointing to the centre of the pitch to Sims saying, right, I want it there in the middle. It's too risky a pass to play because there's too many ifs and buts. Sims is then relying on Tizard to go and meet that ball in the middle. Yeah. And obviously it's gone straight to Scott Pollock, who still has work to do, and he slotted it away nicely. But Brackley deserved their goal because Sutton just didn't seem to see the danger, really.
Well, brief chat with Simo afterwards, and longer chat with his dad. And what was funny is when I was talking to his dad about different things, is he'd said that Jack couldn't understand the praise after his save last week. Going, I've made better saves than that. I don't know what all the fuss is. And then he's absolutely beating himself up about this. And it's like, never too high, never too low, Jack. Come on, you can't do that. But a couple other players to mention. Jermaine Francis, we've already mentioned him, but as a debut, his first 90 minutes for an awful long time, and that's one of the reasons he wants to join us, or one of the reasons he wanted to leave his last two clubs, is he wasn't getting the chance to play, chance to prove himself. How did you see his debut overall?
Yeah, I really like him. I won't lie. I had a bit of hatred in my body before he played due to the goal he scored for Hartlepool against us in October, and that was a horrible late birthday present. Apart from the one mistake he made 12 minutes in, which actually led to Brackley hitting the post, I thought he had a good debut. Probably wasn't overly involved, but he was sharp. He was chasing balls down, winning balls back, and obviously the assist we've spoken about, for him just not to give up on that chance and keep the attack alive. So I'm really excited to see him keep developing. And obviously you can see the trust that Chris has in him to play him 90 minutes for his first game. So definitely there's more to come from him, but a solid start, that's for sure.
Yeah, I believe he was described as chaotic in a good way, as you don't know whether he's going to pop up on the left, the right, in the middle, up front, centre mid. And if we don't know what he's going to do, then the opposition's got no chance of knowing what he's going to do. So, but as you say, I think as a starting point of just running that ball down, just chasing everything, being there, is going to be so important, because that kind of tells other players, I'm going to have to do this as well, because I can't just let him be the only one doing it. So they I'm not saying they weren't doing it, but it's just that tiny sort of,
it's that reminder.
Extra. Yeah, a little bit extra. The small gains over the whole team will be huge. And the right back, Donkor, described as pretty quick. And I, again, in hospitality, Chris said he leaves Junior for dead in a foot race, which...
That's a statement.
Yeah, pretty fast. I know he came on only sort of 20 minutes to go, but what did you think about him? How do you see his signing for the future as well?
Yeah, I like him. I think Chris described him to me as a monster, so I was quite scared at that point. But no, you can see he's quick. And actually, watching him when he came on, Junior seemed to slot into that back three. But it also gives Junior a bit more freedom. You could see when Donkor was on that right, Junior was really getting forward that little bit more. And as you said, he only came on for 20 minutes. Wasn't overly involved, but you can see he wants to carry the ball. He wants to run down that line. So another solid signing. And probably with both of them, it's just more squad depth. Junior can afford to have a bit of a rest. Jaden Harris can afford to have a rest. And probably the best thing for Donkor was he got a free ticket down here to Sutton. Got on the bus after Tamworth, so at least he got some free travel into South London. But no, I'm hoping, we know with the Surrey Senior Cup how seriously Chris takes it. So hopefully we could see him getting a few more minutes on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But another good signing and a really good investment as well.
Yeah. And so almost super sub, David came on, had a glorious chance. The kind of chance that you would, well, I'm fairly sure he's going to dream about it, but not in the way you'd want to dream about it.
No.
How do you, how did you see that? How were you dealing with that live? I haven't heard you back, but how were you dealing with that live?
You don't want to hear me back, honestly. It was Sutton's best chance of the half, full stop. As Chris said, the subs made a good impact. Obviously, alarm bells for Brackley, the amount of space that Njuku had in the middle. It was a lovely weighted pass. And you can see what Radari's trying to do. He's just trying to drill it into the bottom left corner. Just a poor execution. And I personally think if that was Nadesan on that day, I think he would have put it away because I think Nadesan was crying out for that type of chance. But yeah, the best chance of the half. And after the goal he got against Tamworth, I would have thought he would have put it away, but wasn't to be.
Yeah, I think he's almost lost his bearings a little bit. He back turn, took the shot, and he was like, "Oh man, that didn't work." But he didn't let him bother him. This is one thing that I always love about players is if that was me, I would literally the ground would be swallowing me up, and I'd be like, I can't carry on. This is.
I'd be in my bedroom crying.
Yeah, but they just crack on, move on. Next one. I'll miss more, but I'll score again. It was. We seem to get a few yellow cards. I think 3 yellow cards.
Yeah, 3 yellow cards.
Were we that combative? Was it about normal? Because when we do seem to be getting yellow, we seem to have luckily got over our reds phase, but we seem to get quite a few yellows. But is it just a case of that's just how it is, or do you think there's something more that we could do on that?
No, it's difficult. The one that's I remember clearly is the Simpers one, and it was sort of kind of a heavy touch, and the player got away, so it's just an outstretched leg. I think it's just one of those fouls that players up and down the country sort of make. As you said, discipline wasn't terrible yesterday. Yes, it was 3 yellow cards. But yeah, we seem to have definitely got over that red card phase. Thank goodness for that.
I know we were talking about injuries and suspensions, but Pruti did marvellously. He got suspended and injured. That's really great going there.
Double trouble.
Yeah, exactly. We spoke about some of the substitutions. He said in his post-match, I don't think I could have been more attacking in my substitutions. Is that a danger chasing the game that late? Where could we have lost it? Is that a gamble worth taking for you?
Yeah, I think so. If you're going to invest in those attacking players and you've got them on the bench, which I think for the first time in Chris's career at Sutton, he's actually had those options. Why not go for it? Especially, yes, there was a risk. As obviously Braintree had a result yesterday, and Boston as well. But it's 1-1. You're at home. You may as well go for it. And as we've said, the subs did have a good impact, and it nearly paid off with Radari. And it's a shame that we couldn't get the win because with Altrincham losing to Carlisle, it would have taken us up a place on goal difference. But the draw yesterday, I don't think any alarm bells will be ringing. We've got 2 games in hand on Braintree. Yeah. Our goal difference is the best within that bottom 8 as well. But yeah, if you've got the attacking players, why not go for it?
You've mentioned 3 strikers fit, and we've got good wingers. we are missing still that just killer instinct. Absolute. I mean, we beat Tamworth, big result, but it was only 1-0. And we're scoring earlier on in Chris's matches. We were scoring 2s, 3s a match. Now we're struggling for the 1s. Neither of us are a manager. Neither of us have a
Probably
miracle cure. But what do you think we're missing? Is it just rebuilding that confidence again of the players to go, look, just go and have fun, score the goals?
To be honest, you probably want to give Chris a quick call and get him to come on because I'm the last person to ask. It's difficult, as you said. I think in his first few games, we had the 3-3 with Farnham, the 3-2 with Farnham, then the 3-3 with Hartlepool. It's a difficult one. I'd say now that with these new signings, with Eze, with these new attacking players, I'm starting to expect more goals to be scored, especially with the attackers of Donkor as well on the wings. But it probably is just that rebuilding of confidence. Because I think since the Shrewsbury defeat, it hasn't quite been the same.
Yeah.
But now 3 unbeaten, Hawley on Tuesday, a chance to get back to winning ways and get into a semi-final. Hopefully that can be a positive step to rebuilding the confidence. But no, I do think it is just rebuilding confidence. And I do personally think if we hadn't lost that Shrewsbury game, I have a feeling we wouldn't have had this dip in form. I don't know. I still say that.
Yeah. And it's mad because so many of the games, Shrewsbury, the Solihull game, we're talking of we were not outmatched. It was just a 5-10 minute spell where we kind of just went, oh, I don't know what to do, and just gave it up. I mean, Solihull scoring 4 in that 10-minute spell is insane. The rest of the game, you wouldn't really necessarily known that one team was going to lose 4-1. One thing I wondered, did we underestimate Brackley? I know as a fan, people kind of hear Brackley and they're like, okay, we're going to beat them. They're ahead of us in the league. Well, yeah, they were ahead of us in the league. The manager left. The new manager's an interim manager. He wouldn't have had a lot of time before to kind of change things. So did we maybe just kind of go into this thinking, oh, well, all we got to do is turn up? Not just the players, the fans as well, which is the next point. But do you think there was a certain element of underestimating them slightly?
Yeah, I mean, I was a victim of that kind of myself. I mean, as I said at the start, they only had an XG of 0.9. They've lost their manager and he had a good result with Shrewsbury against Barnet. Obviously, their current centre-back decided to take the reins, who had been playing a lot for them this season. So you instantly think, oh, you're in trouble. One of your centre-backs is missing. And yeah, I guess being at home as well, you just expect Sutton to win, with their manager leaving with such short notice as well. So yeah, I think there was definitely an underestimation there.
Yeah. And the reason I kind of say it is I'd spoken to a few people, and before the match, even when we were winning for that sort of 10-minute spell, a lot of people saying there's something about the atmosphere. It just felt nervy. Again, this isn't a criticism. I know I love massively praise everyone who does things with the atmosphere. But it just felt like all of us, me included, there was a little nervy factor, which just seemed odd. And I'm wondering, did that transfer itself to the players? Did you notice that? Did you think there was something strange, or it's only now in hindsight that you kind of go,
Yeah, I mean, even on, I was on radio commentary yesterday, and I even said, that it doesn't seem to be this kind of huge atmosphere, which these Sutton fans are so good for having. So as you said, Mike, it's not a criticism to the fans. It didn't just seem, there wasn't that excitement or that buzz where when we got the goal, that away into the right just goes absolutely bonkers. It just didn't have that same tenacity about it yesterday. And yeah, I guess that would transpire to the players. As Chris always says, the reason why we score so many goals is due to the fans. So you do wonder if that would have rubbed off. And really, the fans were frustrated yesterday, rightly so. For you could hear the groans when they started playing the goal kick short. So it was probably just nerves as well. I mean, I remember when I went to Wembley to watch City Arsenal in the FA Cup, and it was when Man City had Claudio Bravo in goal. So I kind of feel old saying that now. And every time he got the ball, he was always very nervous with his feet, and you could hear the nervousness in the fans, which obviously translates to the players. So yeah, definitely, I think it would have rubbed off on the players.
yeah. I mean, it was a bit weird. And it's a funny one because obviously at the end there's a frustration that we didn't win the game, but it's a different one because it was a 1-1 draw, same as we had with Forest Green. But Forest Green, it was like, oh, we got a 1-1 draw. This one's like, oh, we got a 1-1 draw. It's still the same point. It's still the same scoreline. Chris said it was a fair result. Do you think it was a fair result overall, especially when you watch it back? I will never say it's a fair result. We're always supposed to win. We have a divine right to win every single match of football. But do you think it was a fair result on reflection?
Yeah, I think just going back to the Forest Green point first, yes, they're 2 draws. I guess firstly, there was so much going on in that Forest Green game that these fans were just already electrified by the amount of disgusting challenges that were produced. And I guess it was a point against a team fighting for promotion, and with Forest Green favourites into that game. Immediately, Sutton, you feel like you've won it because of how good Forest Green are doing. But yesterday, in my opinion, the first half, it's 2 points dropped because of the mistake, and Nadesan did have a couple of other chances. Second half, it's definitely a point earned. Brackley had another goal disallowed at the start of the second half. And apart from Adari's chance, I think Harris had a shot that went wide, but that was really it. So yeah, I'd say a draw is a fair result. As Chris said, neither side really did enough to win the game. But on another day, if Nadas puts a couple of chances away, if we weren't having that nervousness playing out from the back, we'd probably go and win that comfortably, maybe.
So we are unbeaten in 3. I'm wondering if someone had told us ahead of those 3 games, you're going to end up with 5 points. Would we have gone, actually, that's not bad. That's a draw a draw against Forest Green, a draw against Tamworth, and a win against Brackley. The 5 points over the 3 games don't seem too bad when you say it that way around. It's unfortunately the other way around. But what do you think? The 5 points over 3 games fair, or do you think you would have taken it beforehand? Would you want to?
I definitely would have taken a draw against Forest Green, that's for sure. The win against Tamworth, a really impressive win. If we had beaten Brackley, I'd say, 7 from 9 would be really nice. But the 5, I think if Forest Green and Brackley were both away from home, I think the fact you'd probably more accept the 5 points. Yeah. But because of, we've only lost 1 home game with Chris at home in normal time. I'll stress I'm including the West Ham babies on penalties or anything.
Can't say that.
Sorry. I think because of how good our home form has been, you probably would have expected a little bit more, maybe. But as you said, Mike, you look at it from the perspective of it's 3 games unbeaten. We are out the drop zone still, albeit on goal difference. I think it's okay.
Okay, so let's talk about the. I said there was only 1, but it's 2 talking points that are on social media. Similar, both of them. We'll start with the first, the less controversial one. Corners, leaving no one up front from a corner. Now, this isn't new. We've had this conversation under Matt. We had it under Morrow. We now seem to be having it under Chris. What are your thoughts on that? I know that the big clubs at Man City, I don't know if Arsenal do it as well, and I know Liverpool do it, where they don't leave anyone up. They have everyone back to defend and then defend the next phase. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, when you said the question, Mike, I thought I recognised this topic from previous podcasts before, which is proof I do watch the podcasts. I don't understand it, probably because of the pace that we do have up front. Now we've got Donkor and Brandon and Harris. I do think we should leave someone up there, just because if Sims gets it, it's 1 long ball forward, and the pace we have up front, we may as well make the most of it. It just creates quite a negative approach. But then at the end of the day, it's another body back to defend. But like we said at the start, we're not managers. I'm sure Chris has his reasons. But if it was me, I would leave someone up front just in case.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a reason that we're all missing because people are screaming for it. It does feel like it's inviting some pressure on, and Brackley left someone up when they were when they had a corner, defending corner, which meant that we had to leave people back to cover that as well. So it's like, what's going on there? I like the fact that you said it's just a long ball from Simo. and we could be on the attack, which leads nicely on.
You're
Very
welcome, Mike. That was all
very
planned.
smooth, very smooth. Nicely on to the long ball from the back. Chris did hint in his post-match that with the pace that we've got, sometimes it is okay to stretch the defence. I know he's set on his playing out from the back. I know that's what he wants to do. That's how he wants to play. And as much criticism as we have for giving away the goal, he rightly points out the goal we scored was also from playing it from the back. And how many times have we done that? I couldn't tell you because I do cover my eyes and think, Christ, just get rid of it. But it is something that happens. What are your thoughts on the playing out from the back in general?
I think the person we should blame is Pep Guardiola, really, for bringing this philosophy over to England and proving it can work. I like it. I know people on the forum and everywhere are always going to have opinions, both positive and negative, because when it works, it's really attractive to watch.
Yes.
And I remember against Shrewsbury, apart from their goal, we were toying with them. You know, we were toying with a League Two team, the passes. Shrewsbury couldn't get anywhere near us. And it proves that it can work. But yesterday, it was just the decision making from. There are a few moments before we even scored where Tizard and Muller and Topolage, they didn't even want to receive that short ball, and their body position wasn't even in a good place to receive it. And when they did, they were in a position where they couldn't pass it back to Sims because of their negative positioning. They had to kick it out for a throw-in that led to a Brackley chance. So it's probably the decision making off the ball that needs improving, of supporting your players. But then equally, when we played Nadesan yesterday, we probably could afford to go long more because he offers something different to Brandon in terms of height and strength.
Yeah,
especially with the pace that we've got now with Francis and all the new signings. I quite like playing out from the back. And the thing is, in a way though, there are times where you may as well just kick it long, because even if you lose the ball, at least you're losing the ball in the opposition's half rather than in your final third. But look, I'll always support Chris's ethos, because when it works, it is really nice to watch.
absolutely. And it is how he wants to play football. And at the end of the day, he's the manager of the side. He decides. I mean, there's little bits. I mean, where some of the voices I'm seeing complaining about the playing it nicely out from the back are the same voices I saw complaining about when we just lumped it forward, and all that was happening is the opposition were getting the ball, recycling and coming straight back at us. And it was like, we need to do something different. Well, now we're doing something very different. It's like, can't we just lump it forward and get rid of it? In an ideal world, yes, your defenders would get rid of it to the halfway line, and therefore your midfield will pick it up. But it's not always going to happen. You've run that risk of the turnover and the ball coming straight back at you. But as you said, there's no point in passing out to someone who then just does the same thing. I don't know how you can recreate that and get people to make better decisions, because you can't recreate the match.
No.
It's very, very difficult to do that. I don't know what I would like, but we know what Chris likes. And as you said, you just got to support the way he wants to play. There's no point groaning, because it doesn't help anyone. I do get it, and I get the whole, this isn't how we want it, it's not non-league. But a lot of teams play like this now, and it helps. As he said, beat the press is where you can pass the ball around people, tire them out a little bit. But would you be interested in seeing the ball just lumped down to the channels?
Yeah,
a hybrid almost.
Yeah,
it would be pretty up that end.
Yeah,
a bit down this end.
That's the thing. Like we said, if you lose the ball in the opponent's half, it's not too much of an issue. It's if you lose it in your own half. And with the signing of Radari as well now, and when we play Nadesan, at least you have that physical presence that has a better chance of winning the ball. And yesterday, Brackley, their number 12, Michael Nottingham, was winning every aerial. I think he's about 6'6", so a very tall player on the pitch. And as we said, we've got the pace either side of the channels. Junior, Donko, Bonner as well. So it would be interesting to play it longer, or just have a bit more variety during the game, not just sticking to one. But at the end of the day, I always support playing out from the back, even though I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack, and there's no defibrillator anywhere. It is really lovely to watch. Oh, there is. Well, not in the
There's
not in the
loads of Sutton
gantry.
United.
Not in the gantry. Oh no, there is. Sorry.
Oh, not in the commentary box. No. And also everyone who would normally be listening maybe is at the match, and there's not going to be many people to go, oh shit, we better go and help him. We didn't even know. But yeah, no, I remember years ago on the Sunday team, I had a centre back who loved just running forward with the ball, and it was right. I kept saying, look, if you lump it forward 60 yards and we lose it, you're in position. When you run forward and 60 yards and lose it, you're out of position. I need you back here. But I'm a very cautious, get rid of it first. But yeah, it's making people want to watch Sutton United. And like it or not, bums in seats or feet on stands is what we really need for people to do it.
And I guess the other pro of playing it long is at least then we can push up the pitch to press them and kind of box them in, which is what Brackley were doing to us, or by our own fault. So that's another pro of hitting it long.
But it was interesting to hear Chris say the option is there for the players. So it's not a case of, yes, he does want them to play it out, but the option is there. So it's that decision making again of knowing when to do. One of my favourite phrases, I've said it often, is Glenn Hoddle. There's no short ball or long ball. There's the right ball or the wrong ball. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Basically, you play the right ball. It doesn't matter whether it's long or short. But looking ahead, as you've mentioned, we've got the Surrey Senior Cup, and we are at home. Now, Chris says this is an important game. Again, this is one of those funny ones. I've got a long-standing grudge against Surrey FA, but it doesn't count as a first-team fixture. So for things like disciplinary, this doesn't count. Obviously, if someone gets sent off or anything in this, it does count, which is a bit unfair.
I was going to say, otherwise it's just going to be a fight.
Yeah, but what kind of team, if you were picking, would you be looking to go with for this? Would you go all out strong, or would you have that good mix of academy youngsters as well?
Yeah, I think it would be unfair to not have any of the academy people in the squad. We know that Chris involved the likes of Bobby Sheargold in the Croydon game, and definitely some of the academy players deserve a chance. I still think we should just promote Dan Erpin simply for his long throwing ability, because I think we need some of that. But the competition, there are some really good teams left. I didn't really give this competition much thought because I thought it's lost its prestigiousness. You've got Farnham in there, which it's fair to say we know decently well. We've created a bit of a rivalry with Cobham, who are in the same league as Guildford. They're 22 points clear at the top. Hawley, they're 7th, only a couple of points off the playoff. So again, there are some really good teams that could make a really interesting semi-final and the final. So obviously Chris has said, I'm going to pick the team that's best suited to win the game. Mm-hmm. So expect the majority first teamers, but hopefully some minutes for the academy, because they deserve it and they've got the quality to prove themselves.
Absolutely. It is interesting to think, we could be going for this, because then I have my dilemma of, do I want to turn up? No, I don't. Last time I did that and I broke my dilemma, I was like, nah, do you know what? It'll be fine. I'll go to one. I think we lost 4-0 to Godalming or something. So I'm like, I'm definitely not going to it if it happens again. That's it. Further ahead of that, we have Boston away. You do the prediction league, so just remember this doesn't count towards your prediction. What do you see? How do you see that game going? And what's an early prediction for that?
Yeah, I think we had a 1-1 draw when we played the McGandergreen Lane from memory. So every away game is difficult. I think they had a really good result at Boreham Wood yesterday. So it'll be a tricky game, but as you said, we'll go into it 3 unbeaten, hopefully 4 unbeaten, and a place in the semi-final as well. So spirits will be high, and hopefully, I guess, talking about everything we've spoken about decision making, that's going to come with time when the players will start to gel. So hopefully by the Boston game, the players have had a really good chance to get to know each other, because it's not easy. We've had 4 or 5 new players that have come in the space of a couple of weeks. So hopefully they're going to get more used to each other, and potentially some of them can get off the mark against Hawley.
Perfect. Prediction?
Prediction. If I go negative, I'll probably be sacked from commentary and probably never allowed on the podcast. So I can't do that. I'll go 2-1 to Sutton, and I'll go with Eze to score first. Why not?
Okay, well, I'm going to go 3-1, and I'll put Jermaine to go breaking to open his scoring for us.
What about Gemini? What's Gemini going to go for?
I didn't actually put it through Gemini yet.
Okay.
So, yeah, it will probably say 1-1 with Nadas to score because it seems to be recently just going on the previous result and just saying, yeah, I'll go with that one.
Well, it's better than a player that doesn't even play anymore, like Louis John. Or
Yeah. That was a great phase going, oh, definitely Craig Eastman's going to score. Okay, marvellous. I suspect he won't, but okay, that's great to know. Right, we are going to wrap up this episode of Sutton Podcast. As always, we appreciate everyone's attention and feedback. Follow, like, share this episode at Sutton Podcast on all social medias. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, and leave a review if you like. As always, thank you to our sponsors, Lucky Star Gin. Big thank you to yourself, Finlay.
Right.
And thanks to you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Sutton Podcast. Take care, and we'll catch up soon. Bye-bye.
United!